Hi, everybody. My name is Ellie Rizzo. I'm a Creedite from '06, '07, and '08, and I'm giving a talk today called Music and Health, Sharing the Gift Can Change the Lives of You and Your Community, literally. So the rundown here is I'm going to get a little personal and tell you about me. I'm going to talk to you about music and your brain as a musician. I'm going to talk to you about music and health, how music improves the health of people and communities. And then I'm going to tell you an interesting little story from my perspective about how music can really build community and make people's lives just a little bit better in any capacity. So a little bit about me. I am a graduate of the Purcell School of Music in Iowa City, where I'm from, and I went to Credo for violin, which of course led to me learning how to play the viola a little bit. Don't tell. I'm now an amateur musician. I'm not professional. I didn't go to music school. Instead, I went to Princeton and got a bachelor's degree in ecology and evolutionary biology. And right now I am a MD MBA candidate at the University of Nebraska Medical Center in Omaha. So I'm going to be a doctor. And on the side, I play violin and sometimes viola in our Nebraska Medical Orchestra, which I will talk to you a little bit more about later in the presentation. And there's me on the day of my white coat ceremony there. Okay, so I promise this won't get too complicated, but from a medical perspective, musical practice, and that's key, the practice, makes your brain really special and unique. Compared to an average person, your brain has more capacity to pay attention to musical sound, the movements that you make, for instance, while playing an instrument, and coordination than an average person. So your brain has a bigger part related to musical processing, 130% bigger auditory cortex, which if you can see my mouse is this green part right down here on your brain, which means that when you hear music compared to an average person, your brain is 25% more active. So just more is going on when you hear music compared to somebody who is not a musician. You also have a bigger motor cortex, which is the area right, where's my mouse? Right here, that allows your brain to catalog movements. So in a string player's case, that would be some finger movements, for instance, or bow movements. So this guy up here, this is called the homunculus, and what it represents is how much of your brain is devoted to each one of these body parts for movement. And as you can see, the hand is really big, which means it's really important in the brain. There's a lot of space devoted to it. So as a musician, that part of your brain right here, this part, is bigger because there's more space devoted to the movements that you make while you play your instrument, which is of course built through practice. So maybe practice doesn't make perfect, but practice makes a bigger brain. In addition, you have a bigger connection between the two halves of your brain, which means there's better communication in your brain overall, and a bigger cerebellum, this little blue guy down here, which is related to coordination. So practically speaking, this means you can do more sort of multitasking things, such as using both hands at once, bow hand and hand to finger your instrument, for instance. So what are you going to do with this big, awesome brain? You can help people with this big, well-practiced brain. You can take these skills and do really unique and cool things. So when you make music, when you use those skills to make music, a lot of interesting stuff happens from a medical perspective. So first of all, music is comparable to meditation for overall health and well-being. And you know that meditation, well, probably your generation knows better than mine, but meditation is something that people are using a lot now to combat the stressful sort of nature of life today. So the question is, why is this? Well, scientists don't know exactly, but when you listen to music, it lowers your stress. It just makes you feel more calm overall, which I'm sure you've all experienced. People who have problems with sleep have better sleep quality when they listen to music. And music helps lower heart rate and blood pressure. So when you feel really anxious and your heart's pounding, if you listen to music, it relaxes your nervous system so that you don't have those sort of hyperreactive episodes. And that actually, a lowered heart rate and a lowered blood pressure reduce your risk of dying early, which is great. That's amazing. Music does that. Music also improves recovery for sick people. So in people who have Parkinson's disease, which is a disorder of movement, you move really slowly, very shaky. Listening to music helped those people have more fluid movement and better mobility compared to a group of people who didn't listen to music. In stroke patients, rehabilitation with memory, and so the ability to remember things and the ability to speak after a stroke were greatly enhanced in a group that listened to music as compared to a group that did not listen to music. And then surgical recovery is also sped up. So if you have an operation, you get better faster if you listen to music. So a fun bonus is that music also makes you temporarily smarter. So overall your brain is a well-oiled machine when you listen to music. So you're a little bit sharper than you normally are. And there's something called the Mozart effect, where your math skills get a little bit better when you listen to music also. It's just temporary. It's only a few minutes, but it's there and it's real. So the last thing I want to tell you about this is that concert attendance might be protective to your health. There was a study that showed that it decreased mortality, which means it lowered your chance of dying. So tell your friends and family. The next time someone complains about going to a concert, you're saving their life. So I want to share a neat little story about and connecting all of these things, the benefits of music, and how you can use your special brain as a musician to really help other people. So music is deep in my family. This is my mom playing violin in probably 1965, I would say. So she played violin. So of course I had to play violin, and here I am in maybe 1995. And here we are today playing violin together. So I've played music my whole life, and it's a really important part, I feel, of who I am as a person. And it's a really important part of my family as well, as I'm sure it is for many of you. Well, my dad didn't play an instrument until he was probably in his mid-50s. So this is my dad, Dr. Rizzo, right here, playing his cello. He decided maybe 10 years ago that he was going to pick up the cello because he had seen me and my mom play music our whole lives and really just wanted to join in the fun. So he picked up cello and took lessons, and he joined the medical orchestra at the University of Iowa because he is a physician. And a few years ago, we moved to Nebraska, and there was no medical orchestra. And eventually, he took his passion for music and for listening to music and playing music to have the right conversations at the University of Nebraska Medical Center, which led to this volunteer effort, creating an orchestra, a full orchestra out of volunteers with a volunteer conductor. And now this orchestra is fully staffed and funded by a gentleman named Matthew Brooks, and it's called the Nebraska Medical Orchestra. So this says, ooh, my picture is probably in the way, but it says, from a love for music, Nebraska Medical Orchestra, which is absolutely true. So any healthcare professional, any doctor, any nurse, any tech, any student at any level, so from I have been a professional musician to I learned how to play violin on YouTube, can join, which is really fantastic in terms of fellowship and learning opportunities for people. We've had 2 seasons with 3 concerts per year, and the 3rd season's upcoming. And the orchestra, which is right here, here we are at UNO. There's me, there is my dad, has led to lots of friendships, lots of partnerships between different institutions. We did a survey that shows that it lowers the burnout among all of the people in the medical orchestra. And there have been more volunteer efforts because musicians actually know each other and connect to play music everywhere across Omaha, the city. And essentially, it's a joy for us and it's a joy for patients because we play in public places for the patients. And that is just a wonderful thing, to take the seed of music going back in my family and developing it into this gift for so many people, that it just came through a passion for music. I think that is a wonderful thing. And all of those benefits, health benefits I shared with you earlier, are still completely applicable. So anybody and everybody listening to this orchestra or playing music in this orchestra is really using their instrument and their talents as a service to themselves, to each other, and to the community at large. And that is really special. It might not be perfect, but it is fun and it is a really great use of time. So my message for you today is that music doesn't have to be perfect to have an impact. I know that you as young musicians spend many hours a day practicing and you want to have your technique perfect and yet have soul in your music, but you know what? Trying, at least from my perspective as an amateur musician, goes a long way. A little music goes a long way. So my message to you is to use your gift, to share it. Get out there, play music, and change lives, because you really can. And that is such a special thing that you're able to do. Congratulations on being part of this camp. And I really hope that you enjoyed this unorthodox, although I'm sure it's still wonderful version of this camp. I know it really made a difference for me, and I really hope it makes a difference for you.